going on, everybody? This is dkdynamite, and yesterday was a huge day for zombies fans in the Black Ops Cold War community, and in case you haven't already, be sure to check out my video where we go ahead and break down all the Easter eggs and storyline that were presented to us in the reveal yesterday. But today we have even more to break down, some things that I intentionally left out of yesterday's video, as well as new information about a second zombies map that may in fact be on disc when Black Ops Cold War releases. We're also going to be talking about other boss zombies, the return of Grief, Dead Ops Arcade 3, and even an explanation about the Dark Aether over on D Machina. So before I jump into that, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below, because about 80% of you that watch my videos aren't subscribed. So make sure you guys are getting notifications every time I update you on Black Ops Cold War. But first and definitely foremost, earlier today, Kontrol Freak went ahead and confirmed that they are dropping a limited number of vintage Juggernog Kontrol Freaks, and I'll have the link to these down below in the description. I of course copped a pair, and I still have the original Juggernog Kontrol Freaks they released back when I think Black Ops 3 came out. They're kind of worn out now, so I'm glad they are releasing a new version of these Juggernog Kontrol Freaks, and the case that these come with alone is unreal. I'm sure you guys feel the same way, but if you are interested in buying these, be as quick as you can, because I expect these to be sold out in the next couple of hours. But now when it comes to D Machina, let me make a huge point about the fact that Noct is returning for, what, the 4th or 5th time now? Nocturne Toten was the starting point of the original Aether storyline, so to me it makes perfect sense that Noct is now the starting point of this new Dark Aether storyline. What if Treyarch is trying to pull a World at War, where for the very first map in this story, there isn't a clear main crew, but then going forward for all future DLC maps, there may be a main crew. Remember Noct back in World at War, we just played as a bunch of Marines. We didn't play as Ultimates until Vrux, Numa, Derice. What if that's what they're going for here? Because I know a lot of people are frustrated that we're going to be playing as multiplayer operators in D Machina, and to me, I really don't mind. We've been waiting for years to play as Frank Woods in a zombies map, and I'm sure Mason's going to be an operator. You might even be able to play as Modern Warfare operators. Adler's going to be fun. There's a lot to look forward to with D Machina, but I definitely understand people's frustration that the charm of having a main crew on each map may be lost with Black Ops Cold War Zombies. But what if going forward for all other DLC maps in Black Ops Cold War Zombies, there will be a main crew, and if you don't want to play as them, you don't have to. Similar to World War II Zombies, where there was a main crew that you see in every single cutscene, but if you don't want to play as them, you could play as these silent unlockable characters that you were able to get through doing a couple of quests. So maybe Black Ops Cold War will be the same way. Just give Treyarch a chance to tell the best story they possibly can. As the developer said, who worked on Horizon's Drac, he tweeted this I think just yesterday, he believes that this is going to be the best iteration of zombies to date that Treyarch has ever done. And I can really see that happening, because this game has nearly every advantage over every single previous entry for Call of Duty Zombies. Crossplay, free DLC, capabilities of next-gen hardware, Battle Pass integration, all of these improvements on the foundation of what makes zombies zombies. So give Treyarch a chance here. Now, one quick thing I also wanted to mention is I've been seeing a lot of comments lately talking about how Nolan North confirmed Richtofen is not in Black Ops Cold War, and I'm like, hold up one second. First of all, even if he was in Black Ops Cold War, he's not gonna spoil it through a TikTok, and he would be under an NDA if he was. But second of all, who's to say he can't cameo later in the DLC season for Black Ops Cold War? If he does come back at any point as Richtofen, I don't think it would be at launch. It would be much later in the DLC season, so people have to stop talking about how Nolan North said Richtofen's not coming back. A lot of people say that because they don't know if their characters are going to come back a year from that point when they say that. Who actually knows what surprises Treyarch has in store for a character like Eddie? Now when it comes to a second map that may in fact be on disc for Black Ops Cold War Zombies, here's something that I saw pointed out by Glitching Queen herself. Shout out to her. She went ahead and pointed out that in the intro cutscene for D Machina, Weaver is seen by a couple of different maps, and on the maps you of course see Morasco, Poland, which is where D Machina is. You then see Dong Hoi region in Vietnam. Hope I said that right. That is a city in Vietnam from what I understand. Now I think the biggest takeaway from this is the fact that there are red circles pinpointing certain locations on these monitors. The first circle is of course pinpointing Poland, which is where D Machina is, and the second red circle is right on Vietnam. And we know zombies have already infected D Machina in Poland, so with that being said, zombies may have already also infected some parts of Vietnam too. That's a big point here, because we have heard plenty of rumors and lots of inside information from our sources that yes, Vietnam will in fact be a zombies map at some point in Black Ops Ops Cold War Zombies. We even heard that it will be a celebrity map. Now, it's of course unclear as of now, but I think if they're already circling Vietnam in this cutscene, that's a pretty big hint that we are going to go there at some point in the storyline. Now, whether that's a map on disc or as later DLC is unknown. Remember, we always see a celebrity zombies map throughout the DLC season, and Black Ops 3 is an exception because Shadows of Evil was a launch map where we had a celebrity experience, so I'm very curious to see what they end up doing with this. But as I also reported before, Nacht will apparently be playable as a standalone map outside of Die Maschine, but it's unclear how that's going to be unlocked when the game does release. But I really wouldn't mind 2 solid launch maps, and then of course, as you guys may have seen, Dead Ops Arcade 3, which was teased officially by Treyarch yesterday. I have a full video going in depth about Dead Ops Arcade 3, which I'll have linked down below, and it does sound very promising so far. I believe only one developer over at Treyarch works on all of Dead Ops in its entirety, and he's been teasing it quite a bit over the past few weeks, so I'm sure he's just as excited as we are about the next iteration of Dead Ops. You know, Dead Ops 2 really innovated on the first one, so I can't even imagine what they're going to end up doing with Dead Ops 3 on next-gen hardware. Crossing my fingers that this isn't the PlayStation exclusive deal where it's only available on PS4 and 5 for like a year, similar to Survival in Modern Warfare. As of today, Survival mode is now available on Xbox and PC, which is hilarious, but as of now, fingers crossed, there may not be anything locked behind PlayStation exclusivity for well over a year. But also a boss zombie that I actually failed to mention yesterday in my video. I just didn't even see this image until much later in the day. So this to me looks like a hybrid between Brutus and a Mangler. As you guys know, last week I reported on several different enemy types that'll be in Die Maschine, and one of them I mentioned was definitely a hybrid between Brutus and a Mangler, so there you have it. There's also something called the Pyro Panzer, which may in fact be that poison, chaotic, toxic looking zombie that we saw in the trailer. Not sure, but he looks pretty big as well, like a hazmat type of zombie. We know that zombie will also be in Dead Ops 3, so these enemy types are looking very interesting. I know Treyarch is really listening to all of our feedback, so there's no doubt in my mind that special enemy types will be fully balanced in Black Ops Cold War Zombies compared to Wustlings in World War II or Catalyst from the Chaos story. As Craig Houston also said, the heroes themselves in Black Ops 4 collapsed the multiverse, but although they did that, some things didn't want to stay dead, which is why I'm not surprised about the hybrid we're going to see of Brutus and the Mangler, and I wouldn't be shocked to see other familiar faces like the Avogadro, maybe the Fire Zombie from Shangri-La, so many other faces that may end up merging with other bosses and returning in new forms here within Die Maschine. So I'm very excited to see a lot of those nostalgic mechanics in Die Maschine, but there's still a lot of new features to also look forward to with Black Ops Cold War. But now when it comes to Grief, something I was thinking about last night was the fact that several different groups have already been introduced for Die Maschine, the Omega Group, divisions of the CIA, and so many others, to the point where Grief sounds like it makes the most sense now, because in Black Ops 2 we had the CDC versus the CIA. Now we can see so many of these other groups going at it on some of these zombies maps in Black Ops Cold War. So game modes like Gauntlet and Rush in Black Ops 4 weren't as successful as I think Treyarch wanted them to be, but I think trying out another game mode or two like Grief or maybe a scrap mode from Black Ops 2 could prove to be pretty successful, considering we have capabilities of next-gen hardware, Battle Pass integration. These maps look like they're going to be very, very fun gameplay-wise. I think trying out at least 1 or 2 extra modes on top of the survival we are going to see may be beneficial, but they shouldn't spend too much time doing too many different modes. But at the same time, you know, to play devil's advocate, there's going to be crossplay, so I think it doesn't even matter how many modes there are. I think there'll be plenty of people playing zombies this time around to where every game mode could be populated with a healthy enough player base. But now when it comes to the Dark Aether itself, so this is what I find to be extremely cool. So in some of the images that we've seen, I didn't get to talk about this yesterday, we get this very neon-like environment that reminds me of Raven the Redwood. So my theory on what this is that certain parts of the gameplay or the Easter egg may involve us kind of merging between our reality and the Dark Aether to the point where everything looks like it's raved out. You know, we could even be entering the Dark Aether at some point throughout the Easter egg to where we're on the same map, but similar to an Easter egg like 9, even though we're in the exact same spot, we get a different atmosphere and environment for a certain step or two. This again reminds me of the step in 9 with the Danu Tower, where you're in the exact same spot on the map, but everything looks a lot different for that step. It's all at night, you see stars above you, it's very dark, so this could be a very similar mechanic here throughout the potential Easter egg here in Die Maschine. But also remember, a lot of people out there were already judging Black Ops Cold War Zombies when it first got teased a couple of weeks ago because it looked too much like World War II, but Treyarch immediately debunked that at the reveal yesterday. It is so vibrant, so colorful, and and it makes me even more excited to see how this is going to look on a PlayStation 5 when we're all playing it for ourselves. This is definitely going to take things that worked well in World War II, but of course add that Treyarch charm to it to make it the best experience it could possibly be, and that's what I wanted to see from the beginning when I first heard that Sledgehammer was originally working on Call of Duty 2020. But the Dark Aether itself makes me very intrigued because, as we know, as of now, there are some familiar faces still stuck in the Dark Aether, right? Monty, the Shadow Man, some bosses like Brutus and the Mangler, but don't forget, Victis is also in there, so I think their return is inevitable. Now that we know the Dark Aether is the focus of Black Ops Cold War Zombies, I think it won't be until deep into the DLC season when we end up seeing them again, but I'm very excited about that because we haven't had closure for that Victis crew, and I think their remakes, which are still happening by the way, probably later in the DLC season, are going to play even better on some of this next-gen hardware. But also, something funny that was pointed out by Queen as well is that the inflation of how much Quick Revive costs is very apparent on D Machina. It originally cost 10 cents, now it's 40 cents, so I'm curious what the prices of these perks are going to be. And on top of that, we got a glimpse of the classic M14, which I also missed in my first viewing of the D Machina reveal. And lastly, Treyarch did confirm there will be intel tracking in D Machina, so that's something that I think Extinction did very well, to where, you know, you pick up intel on a map and you can go back to the main menu and watch it later, versus having to only listen to it in-game with zombies on your back, or if you want to read a cipher or something, you have to, you know, have someone else hold a zombie while you take a sniper and read it. I think intel tracking is huge for the story, and it goes back to the roots of zombie storytelling, because back in the day, there weren't cutscenes to tell us a story. We had to listen to radios, read ciphers to fully understand what was going on top of listening to the dialogue amongst our main crew. But not only are we going to get beautiful cutscenes in Black Ops Cold War Zombies, but we are going to have a heavy emphasis on listening to radios and reading things to get a full understanding of what's coming next and what we're doing now. Craig Houston, luckily, is still at Treyarch, and he knows how to kill it with zombie storytelling. Alpha Omega is a map that he primarily worked on without the helps of Blundell, and he proved that storytelling in zombies doesn't just have to be done with beautiful cutscenes. He did it in the best way he could with dialogue and radios and so many other Easter eggs that he threw over on that Nuketown remake. But that is about it. This has been dkdynamite. Leave all your thoughts down below in the comment section. What do you guys think about everything we talked about in this video? Do you want to see a second map on disc? Would you rather save it for later in the DLC season? How are you guys feeling about the gameplay now that we've had a full 24 hours to digest everything that was presented during the reveal? Really hope you've enjoyed, and peace out, everyone.